is all that I can say. I love thee, it's ever on my tongue. In all my proudest poesy that chorus still is sung. It is the verdict of my eyes amidst the gay and young. I love thee. I love thee. 1,000 maids among. I love thee. I love thee, thy bright hazel glance. The mellow lute upon those lips whose tender tone.
Okay.
The barrier is pure energy. It's unbreachable.
Yeah, I got that. Plan B.
Sir, the Mark 7 is not ready for deployment.
Then skip the spinning rims. We're on the clock.
Please tell me you're going to appeal to my humanity.
Actually, I'm planning to threaten you.
You should have left your armor on for that.
Yeah. Seen a bit of mileage, and you've got the glow stick of destiny. Would you like a drink?
Stalling me won't change anything.
No. Threatening. No drink, you sure? I'm having one.
The Chitauri are coming. Nothing will change that. What have I to fear?
The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes type thing.
Yes. I've met them.
Takes us a while to get any traction on that one. But let's do a head count here. Your brother, the demigod. A super soldier, a living legend who kind of lives up to the legend. A man with breathtaking anger management issues. A couple of master assassins, and you! Big fella. You've managed to piss off every single one of them.
That was the plan.
Not a great plan. When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Oh, I thought the beast had won wrong.
You're missing the point. There's no throne. There is no version of this where you come out on top. Maybe your army comes, and maybe it's too much for us, but it's all on you. Because if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it.
How will your friends have time for me when they're so busy fighting you? This usually works.
All performance issues. Not
So we'll go no more a roving, so late into the night. Though the heart be still as loving, and the moon be still as bright. For the sword outwears its sheath, and the soul wears out the breast, and the heart must pause to breathe, and love itself have rest. Though the night was made for loving, and the day returns too soon, yet we'll go no more a roving by the light of the moon.
Gosh, why do you think? I mean, it's a lot of tech and superhero suits and capes and explosions.
I think you're just used to sometimes. It's the kind of movie that you go because your kids want to go, and you're bored stiff.
Unless
Unless it actually is just kind of a good movie that's thoughtful and doesn't just kind of tread the same old water, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's really they're just so much fun, these films. It's almost like you don't have to have any kind of preconceived intellectual qualification to enjoy it. You just have to be alive to fun and have a sense of humor and a pair of eyes that are delighted by spectacle. And it really is, these kinds of films are really why I became an actor. Of course, when I grew up and your taste develops, you fall in love with things like Shakespeare and Chekhov and Michael Haneke films, which are intense and dark and strange. But I first saw Christopher Reeve play Superman,
Never
you know,
forget it.
you never forget it, and
Yeah.
and it's an amazing feeling when there's just I think in every grown human being is a kid basically, and so it appeals to the kid in all of us. I remember you telling me to squeeze harder. I was like, it's all right.
And then we were shooting the next day.
We
Yeah, but he's like that too. I mean, you want to go for it. I think Tom and the Chris's and Scarlett and Jeremy really, really were out there in the trenches. For me, once the helmet closes, I'm back in LA.
because you can't really fly through the air.
Not just yet, no.
It's a shame, I know.
We're certainly working on it.
But it's weird though, because you have to go for it, but you can't actually hurt each other. So it's a strange little dance that you do. It's all like a dance, isn't it, basically?
Yes, we're just dancers. Just dancing. I've just gotten so used in the last 5 years to kind of co-writing word for word whatever I'd done. But Joss would just go write 3 pages of options, and it was kind of like he just did all the work writing wise. So I forget whose stuff was his. I'm glad it worked.
Rock of Ages, was that? Did you come up with Rock of Ages?
I didn't even know what Rock of Ages was when he said it. I realized afterwards what the reference was.
Right.
Yeah, I like Point Break for Thor.
Break
Was kind
is
of good too.
Yeah.
What do we call you? Reindeer Games?
Reindeer Games,
Not bad.
yeah.
You know, whatever.
It's 30 pounds of leather and metal, so it's like wearing a diving bell in the New Mexico desert.
And having to dance like a butterfly.
That's right. It gets very hot in there, it's for sure. It's particularly when I have the helmet on. It's like wearing a ski hat in the summer. The question is why.
Did you develop coping mechanisms? Did you mist him with water every so often?
How do any actors really cope? You know, we don't cope.
Yeah, we just can't. It's impossible to cope with the privilege
keep
of playing
going.
superheroes. Yeah.
I think the way you cope is you get these great infusions, like days like today, where you're saying that the gal's at the office and everyone's excited. It's like you remember why you've spent all those months laboring. It's for an effect. You know, in theater you get it right in the
Immediately.
moment, and here it's this extremely delayed gratification. So
It was also huge fun. I mean, we had such a good time making it because it's quite releasing to play characters like this. You have to try and infuse them with humanity and psychological depth and make it real. But it's also you get to. I spend a whole day attached to a wire, flying around a satellite testing facility owned by NASA in Ohio, like an acrobat. I was strung up, and I mean, this is the most famous and most specific satellite testing facility in the world. So any satellite that's spinning around the Earth is tested in this chamber, and they turned it into my own personal circus for a day. My 31-year-old self is equally proud.
Stop all the clocks. Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos and with muffled drum. Bring out the coffin. Let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle moaning overhead. Scribbling on the sky the message. He is dead. Put crepe bows round the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west. My working week and my Sunday rest. My noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out everyone. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood. For nothing now. Come to think.
In reverse order of importance, I walked off. I walked off set with one of the Black Sabbath T-shirts. Do you know where I put it? I mislocated it. That's like misremembering. From 5 years ago, when we did the first Iron Man, to today, with all these folks you see up here, you know, it honestly couldn't have gone any better. All three franchises that we launched so far had to work. If this didn't work, then it affected all of the previous franchises extremely adversely. And there's also the potential for additional franchises based on how strongly people are reacting to Jeremy and Scarlett and Mark. So I mean, I'm not one of those people who wants to be. I don't understand why everything's gone this well. But that in this one instance in my life seems to be the situation.
The strange small person called Tom had to do most of that himself as well. Hurling myself into the air and throwing myself to the floor repeatedly. Must have looked like a lunatic. Which kind of describes Loki quite adequately.
Robert?
Tony's favorite move. Aya's Tony's favorite move. Well, you know, probably how I can fall out of buildings and survive because of my tech. You notice that fight move involves no one but me and my stuff.
The thing that was most impressive to me about Joss initially was the incredible screenplay that he wrote. I mean, as an achievement in itself, as a filmmaker, his screenplay was simply phenomenal. Because I think all of us weren't sure what to expect, and it was the most extraordinary answer to your first question, really, which is how do you get all these superheroes in one film? And I take my hat off to him for that, because I think that was probably his hardest job that must have made directing it seem like a walk in the park. Maybe not a walk in the park. Maybe a light jog. But he was incredibly open, and that's really all you want as an actor is you want to collaborate. You want, you know, everybody at this table has a degree of ownership about the characters they play, and he's very respectful of that possession. In a way, he's very respectful that we've all lived under the skins of our characters for some time, and so he was constantly asking, does this feel right? Does this feel true to you? Is this in your voice? But most of the time I was just turning up and saying my very brilliant lines which he'd written on my behalf. So, yeah. I think there's a part of his charisma which is performed and presented, and a part of his charisma which is very genuine. So, for example, I think his enthusiasm about engineering, his enthusiasm about the future is very real. I think he actually has an innate gift. And perhaps he's used to people buying what he's selling more easily than they do at the beginning of this film. But in terms of being inspired by, that's a sort of whole meta conversation about being inspired by the wealth of it. I tried to